Simplifying expressions means to write them in the most compact or efficient form. The simplified form of 4 plus 5 plus 6 is 15. Simplification involves combining like terms. Like terms are terms that contain the same variables taken to the same power. They can have different coefficients, but that's all. For example, 15x and 6x are like terms, so we can add or subtract them, but 15x and 6x squared are not like terms, because the variables are taken to different powers. It works the same if you have multiple identical variables among terms. Say 7xy and 5xy. xy represents the same thing in both terms, so if you have 7 of something and add 5 of that same thing, you get 12 of that thing. Essentially, we are just combining the coefficients. Now look at this expression for a moment. 7xy plus 5yx. There is a subtle difference compared to our previous examples. The variables are in a different order in each term. If you think back to our discussion on number properties, you'll recall that there's a property that says we can shift the order of multiplied numbers without changing the value. X and Y represent numbers, so that means that 7xy and 5yx are in fact like terms. 5yx can be written as 5xy, and it doesn't change the value. That's important to remember. Now let's talk about some key mechanics of simplification. Parentheses. Many problems will require you to work through parentheses to simplify. If you see an addition sign in front of parentheses, like you see here, simply remove the parentheses and simplify from there. If you see a minus sign in front of parentheses, it's slightly more complicated. To remove the parentheses, we first multiply the negative sign through. You can think of it as distributing a -1 across the parentheses. In other words, we change the sign of each term within the parentheses to its opposite. So, when adding an expression inside parentheses, you can simply remove them. When subtracting, you must change the signs within the parentheses to remove them. Now let's talk about simplifying with negatives more generally. You can think about minus signs as being stuck to the term directly to their right. This way, when you rearrange terms, combine like terms, or clear parentheses, you'll automatically be treating the negative correctly. You can rearrange x minus y as -y plus x. We just stuck the negative sign to the y and moved it to the other side of the x, as seen here. But again, if there are parentheses immediately to the right of the negative, we distribute the negative through and remove the parentheses, and then you can shift the terms around. In summary, we can simplify algebraic expressions by adding and subtracting like terms. When adding an expression in parentheses, we can simply remove the parentheses. When subtracting an expression that's inside parentheses, we change each term to the opposite sign and remove the parentheses.